It's the breakdown we never wanted to do on X's and O's with Dominic Robinson, but with Florida State having to press a backup quarterback in Tate Rodemaker into action for this all-important chance for the Noles to go 12-0 for the third time since 2013, we go now to Dominic Robinson, our lead football analyst here on Warchant TV, to take a look at Tate Rodemaker's game. First of all, happy Thanksgiving week to you, Dominic. I hope you and the family are doing well.
Happy Thanksgiving, man. We always love this week. You know, Thanksgiving week, obviously it's a great time to get together with family, but more than that, even more important, it's Florida week. It's time to go get after those Gators. So this is my favorite week. It's been for a really long time, you know, prior to being a player, and then obviously being a player, and then now even after. It's a special week. It always is a special week for high school football. If you practice this week, that's a big deal. And then again, like I said, if you're a Seminole, then you know we get a chance to get after those Gators. So excited about that.
Yeah, the old guard like Jeff and Gene, that they're big on the Miami week. That's their number one. But I think we agree on this, that Florida is the one that we circle on the calendar. And now Florida State will have to turn to number 18, not number 13, but number 18 coming off the sideline for Florida State, starting for the first time since 2020. And that was an emergency start for Tate back in the COVID season. So this is his first real start and real opportunity to put a stamp on Florida State's football program as their leader and as their quarterback. D-Rob, I'm wondering, you know, last week against North Alabama, he plays for an extended period of time for obvious reasons. Jordan Travis goes down with a season-ending injury. But when you look at the offense, with Florida State, Tate Rodemaker leading the way, do you see an offense that is an extension of Jordan Travis plays, or do you see perhaps a set of things that are catered towards what Tate does well?
You know, it really jumped off the page for me, or jumped off the screen for me as I watched the film. The very first play call, which we'll take a look at, was a play call that we've actually run earlier this year. And so it's play action, and then they're getting a scissors action down here at the bottom with the number one receiver going to the post and the number two receiver running a sail route or corner route to occupy the space that the corner that is leaving. So you see here, Tate takes his and this same thing actually happened with Jordan, is hitch, and then he doesn't throw the ball right there, and he's got this space down here. Now he has to throw a layer. He has got to get it over this this nickel or this linebacker down here at the bottom, but there's plenty of space and time to throw this ball. Now this was his very first play, and this is after losing your leader. And, you know, thinking you're not going to play probably for the rest of the year. And all of a sudden you're thrust into action. So I understood him eating this, not taking this throw. This is a throw he's going to have to make in order to win the next, 2-3 games. And he held on to it. He runs. You see, he's a good athlete. The guy can get out and do some things with his legs, but he really wants to push the ball down the field. I think the thing that really jumped out to me after that play call was, if you look back to the Louisville game, and we could show some video of a breakdown that I did in the past, Jordan goes down, and essentially for the rest of that game, they're running Jordan Travis's game plan, the game plan that they came into that game to run. They're running same plays. Some of those plays they actually had run earlier in the game. They're repeating plays because you probably have a limited amount of plays that you can run or that he ran during the week. And so you're seeing a lot of the same stuff that they had run with Jordan. This week, when he goes down, I was incredibly encouraged by the film because I'm seeing a lot of pure progression drop back stuff that we didn't see with Jordan. So that tells me that the coaches have been preparing him for this moment. They know that they have a number one, on their hands with Tate, and they have a Tate plan that's specific to Tate and the things he does well, as opposed to just, patching it together with Jordan's plan with a different player back there. And so you can see that in the way that they, approached it. And here's a good example. Okay. So they're in a 3-by-1 set, And, this is a really, really good depiction of who Tate is as a quarterback. So he's going to read these three underneath defenders. So they're running a sort of a curl flat, concept, a hooks concept where he's got to know where these underneath defenders are. So those three guys, if you watch those guys. So the first guy now, Tate, you can see his eyes are on him. He's taking away the curl, the curl window. He feels like he doesn't have number 4 down here at the bottom running the 5-yard in cut. So then he's going to move on to the next guy, and you can see his eyes move on to the next guy. That's the flat. Okay, so now the flat defender is working for width. He has leverage on the flat defender. So now he's going to work backside. He finds the backside hook defender. He feels like he has space, and he puts it in there. This is like super duper high level stuff, man. I mean, this is a really good job by Tate. This is still pretty early in the game, and for it to watch him work through those 3 progressions in the way that he does here is really, really impressive. And then it's obviously it's a strong throw, great ball. And these are things that are really great, building blocks. Actually, let's show from the tight. As you can watch him roll through. He's outside, inside, and then backside. That's a great job. Great delivery. Everything about this is very good. And it tells you a lot about Tate and his sort of his guts to just stand in there and deliver the ball. It's also the same thing that will get him into trouble late. Okay. So here again, this is another, this is a mirrored smash concept. So smash is a corner and a hitch or some sort of flat route outside. They're in a condensed formation. So he needs to know, one, where this safety is. So they know he's in a single high. So right now, when you see single high safeties, you're thinking, I got to throw this ball to the flat. Okay. I do not have because both of these corners are bailing and we're running corner routes. The routes are going right to these defenders, the deeper routes. So I'm going to have to throw the ball. The space that the defense is giving you is out here. And you can see there's plenty of space and plenty of time. And this is even with a 4-man rush. He doesn't deliver the ball. And this is where Tate can get into trouble. He doesn't deliver the ball. He holds on to it. It's still there. It's still there. And even at this point, while, he realizes I don't have my deep routes, 84 is down here wide open. He can still throw this ball even after he has secondary pressure. And he doesn't deliver the ball. Now he gets into trouble. That easily could be, sack, fumble, game over, other team gets the ball. That's going to be, an issue that's going to have to get cleaned up. He's going to have to deliver this ball right now on time because pre-snap told you based on this structure right here, I'm throwing this ball to the flat. And even if you thought maybe they were disguising, at this point, it's not a disguise. Ball's got to be delivered. What's interesting is the play before that. This is the play before that play. Now, the concept is a little bit different now. So the last concept was a full field read. He was reading the whole field. This time, he's been told, you can tell by his footwork and the timing, this is a timing route here to the bottom. Instead of, they're still running a smash type concept, but the number 1 receiver is actually running an out here or a bench route. He's going to take 3 steps, 1, 2, 3, grip it and rip it. That ball's out. It's a beautiful ball on time. It's unstoppable. He's getting essentially the same defense. It's a single safety. They're actually kind of playing a type of quarters, but you're getting a bail from this corner down here. So this is absolutely, this is high level quarterback play in terms of delivering the ball, but he's been pre-coached or it's already predetermined. This ball's coming to the bottom. And the main way that I know this is the routes aren't mirrored. The routes on up top are different than the routes here on the bottom. So, he's been told, hey, we're pushing this ball to the field. We're throwing the out route. And he does it.
I was going to
And
say,
it's
excuse me, D-Rob, that's such a long throw, too. You got to have a cannon to be able to pull that off.
You do, and he's got all of that. I mean, you can definitely see this guy can rip it. The problem is not his arm strength or his talent. Some people, they call arm talent. I kind of hate that word, but you can see this guy can drive the football. He can really deliver the ball. He spins it really well. It's just a matter of will he hold on to it too long and allow the front to collapse in on him while he's trying to read and make and go through his progressions. And then can the guys protect long enough to allow him to get through those progressions?
So a quick question for you. I'm confused now. This is basically how I'm going to say I'm confused because the first clip, I see him going through progressions as though he's a professional quarterback in the old pro style game, which is it's a backside progression that he's getting to, and he's getting to instantly, which is really, really good. Then I see the next time that he's got a chance to go through progressions and make a choice, he doesn't. So as a coach, what do you do in this moment? Because that's clearly an inconsistency, but there's really good in there, and then there's dangerous in there. So how does an offensive coordinator navigate, or Mike Norvell in this case, because he's the de facto offensive leader, how do you navigate that situation with a quarterback that can do it all and yet sometimes not do the basics?
Yeah, I think the things that you have to do is you really have to simplify and give him instead like I said with the last two examples, you sort of take away the full field reads and you give him a high low on a single side. So you give him a key defender read where he's looking at one player. If this player goes back, you throw it here. If this player comes up, you throw it there. And it's hard to live in that world because eventually that defender just starts playing games with you if it's a well-coached defense, and he looks like he's going back but he's not, he looks like he's coming down but he's not. So that becomes the tough part, is that I can't predetermine as a coach. At some point I got to let you play.
Yeah.
And so you can't, like I said, you can't necessarily live in that world, but that's the best thing to do. I think the other thing to do is you give him reads and things that he's comfortable with. So things that you've seen him have some success with, that may be tougher reads. So one of the things that they went to a little bit later here in this game is a triangle read. So I'll kind of let this run a little bit, and you'll see at this point now, here's your triangle read. Now it's a lot further down the field. You see, in order for that triangle to be created, it takes a little bit of time, which is what Tate wants to do, right? So this is something that he's comfortable with doing, and this is what he prefers. So you allow this concept to develop. He has a triangle read right here. He decides that linebacker that's pushing out here underneath Johnny is getting too much width, and he rips it inside of him. It's a heck of a job. Again, like you said, I got to give him things that he's comfortable with, things that he does well, and then and let the guy go play. So because he's a pure progression, pocket type guy, these triangle reads are going to be big. And here's one, and then that was somewhere, I think somewhere in the third quarter, and then coming right back to it, probably about 10 plays later. This is sort of a different concept, different route concept, but the same deal. You end up with the triangle read. There's nobody up underneath the in breaking route, the dig route or curl route. And again, here's Tate, doing his thing. He takes his drop. Here's his hitch. He's reading it. He reads it perfectly. He puts the ball in there, and then we put it on the ground. But this is really good job. This is high-level quarterback play. They're only rushing 3, and that's the thing that I think teams are going to do that are going to be a little bit different. Is I don't think we'll see a lot of 3-man rush. I don't think we'll see a lot of 4-man rush. I think the remaining teams are going to heat them up. They're going to rush 5 and even 6 at times, and they're going to force him to get rid of the ball. They're going to force him to make quick, decisive decisions because he's proven that he wants to go fully through his progression before he delivers the ball. And most teams are going to decide, you know what, we're not going to allow him to do that.
So we're talking about pressure when they heat up Tate, and one would imagine with a defense like the Florida Gators, D-Rob, that gives up yardage left and right. They gave up 700 yards to LSU not that long ago this season, which is absurd. I would think that they're going to try to go down swinging rather than sit back, and especially what you're talking about with Tate. It's probably not a good idea to sit back and not dial up some pressure. So what do we have here in terms of the North Alabama game and what we saw with Tate dealing with pressure?
Without question, I think this is what we'll see going forward, is not teams sitting back and allowing him to go through that progression. And so there's sort of two ways to handle that. One is, like I said earlier, you take a lot of high-low reads where he's getting it out based on one defender, a key defender read. And then the other thing is to screen teams. So here's an example. This is a 6-man pressure. They've got 3 deep and they only have 2 underneath guys. So if you can block those 2 underneath guys, you got yourself a really good football play. Okay, so this is a great call here. It's 2nd and 5. They try to, like I said, they try to heat them up. They bring 6, and it's just a simple, running back screen into the boundary. You end up with a good little gain right here. There's one answer to pressure. Here's another, blitz pressure a little bit later in the game. Okay, again, 6-man pressure. They go with the cross dog. So the linebackers are crossing over the center, try to confuse the guys up front. And this is actually a drop back pass right here, or play action pass. They're looking to actually hit 4 on the rail route right here. So you see Keon is in the slot. He's kind of pretending like he's going to block. And what they wanted to do was pump this the check down and throw the rail. The rail actually comes open, and this is a really good job by Tate because he knows, based on the pressure, he knows that he's going to get 4 open right here. But he also knows I don't have time. He releases it to the flat. You live to fight another day. You let your athletes go play. This is a 2nd and short. You make a couple guys miss, and you end up with a big play downfield. So those are 2 examples of things that are going to have to be prevalent within the offense. Probably 2/3 of the offense is going to have to be screens, and then letting guys make guys miss in the open field, and just getting the ball to your flats and making them tackle, making the other team tackle. And then the last play that I want to show is just Tate being Tate. Showing off a little arm strength right here. And so here's a little 2x2 set. Here's your rail route again, down here to the boundary, to the short side of the field. And Jaheim Bell is within the is kind of in the hole. This is that hole shot in between a cover 2 safety or quarter safety and a hard corner. And man, this ball is ripped. I mean, this ball is absolutely ripped. It's probably 28 yards downfield, but you also got to account for, him pushing it. So you're talking about, this is like a 50-yard throw on a line, leading him and also even allowing him to protect himself from the safety, make this guy miss and gain a couple extra yards. So these are the things that get you excited about what he can do in terms of pushing the ball down the field. It's just a matter of getting it out on time and then having time to get it out. Here he's protected very well. It's only a 4-man rush. So that's got to be protected. We're going to send all 5 out, and he does a great job right there.
So anecdotally, D-Rob, just from what we've seen from Tate, there's variance. That would be the word I use. There's boom and there's bust in his game. Sometimes the big throws, from practice, I'll do it this way. When we go to practice, it is not uncommon for the best throw of the day to belong to Tate Rodemaker. Mm-hmm. But it's also not uncommon for the worst decision, in practice to be from Tate Rodemaker. So there's boom and there's bust. It sounds like that's what you're seeing on the film here as well. So one more time, I'll ask you before we look forward to, Florida State's got 2 games left that they're promised, this game and the ACC championship. How do you make sense of that? Because it feels like that first play you showed us, Tate can do it all, but then maybe that's more tantalizing than not, because you might need to simplify things for him so that he gets the ball out on time and protects himself from himself, his word, his own nature.
Yeah. As you go forward, and the teams that you're going to play, it's going to be much, much harder to hold on to the ball for the amount of time that he's holding on to the ball in this last game. And so your game plan is going to have to progress in terms of allowing him to do the things that he does well, but you're also going to have moments where you shrink everything down and you go, hey, we're just throwing a screen over there. And if that guy can make one guy miss, we have a chance to win this game. If he can't, we're probably not going to win. But we can't turn it over by holding the ball back here in the pocket and allowing the defensive front to eat. So that's going to be the tough balance that's why the coaches get paid the big bucks, is finding that balance of, okay, what, if you can screen a team for half of football and you get them tired, you get the pass rush tired, and then you start to push it down the field. If you can, hang in there long enough, which Florida State has the defense to do that. You just want to hang in games long enough to where we can develop some of the things downfield that Tate does really well. But you're not going to show up in the first quarter and just start chucking and ducking downfield, and expect to win that game. So, that'll be the challenge over the next couple weeks of figuring out ways to, slow down the pass rush up front, and then bringing extra guys, in the pressure. And some of that may just be throwing, go balls or fade balls to number 4, number 14. And heck, even 6, finding ways to get quick, balls that you can push down the field within, fade, slot fade, things like that.
All right. So the last question I have for you is in 3 parts. So the first part is, it's North Alabama film. So does that matter? The opponent matter because the concepts will translate? Like when you're looking at it, do you water down what you see, or do you say, no, because the concept tells me the truth about the quarterback, not necessarily the opponent? And then after that answer, there's 2 different ways that you can look at Tate the starter, or questions you could ask. Is he good enough to get Florida State on the podium, accepting a trophy for the ACC championship at 13-0? And then how good is Florida State? How much of a chance would they have if they accomplish all of those things in the college football playoff against teams like Michigan, Georgia, Oregon, and so forth?
I think one thing that's really important in this moment is, if I'm Coach Norvell and the coaching staff, I am not trying to replace, and I don't want anyone trying to replace Jordan Travis. That's not going to happen. It's not even possible. This guy literally brought a team back from the depths of hell, who carried us in his backpack and did more things than we could ever, repay him for, and more things than you could ever account for in the course of 2 or 3 games. So that would be the first thing, is like, nobody needs to be trying to do extra or be extra. The message that I would be trying to send is, some of us have not done or lived up to or played up to the standard that we have for ourselves in some of these games. So if we can all carry our own weight and just be who we are, every game from here on out, then we have a chance to compete. But without Jordan, who was our leader and was everything to this team, to this offense, without that, none of us can afford to fall short of our expectation for ourselves and the standard for ourselves. So I wouldn't put it on Tate. It's not Tate for Jordan. It's this team. It's however many guys play, 54 guys that have to carry their own weight to be the best that they can be, to give the team an opportunity to compete. And I would be really, really preaching that message, because when guys try to go outside themselves and do extra, you tend to get a guy who presses and does too much and gets outside of himself. And then, that's where you start to make mistakes. That's when guys get injuries and things like that. So I would really be preaching that message. Can Tate win the ACC? Absolutely. Can he win a playoff game? Absolutely. But it cannot be put on Tate. It has to be a collective effort from everybody, and that includes guys that may not even see the field on Saturdays.
It all starts this weekend, 7 o'clock kick for Florida State at the Florida Gators. This is a game that means a lot to everybody in Nole Nation, but you can tell it's a little extra for Dominic Robinson over his left shoulder on the wall there. There's a couple of memories, a couple of great ones. One, the original 4th and 14, and some others for Dominic for Florida State and Florida. So we're geared up on warchant.com, Warchant TV for that. The first start, the first real start, we'll call it, in Tate Rodemaker's career at Florida State. Hope you learned something today. I know I did. If you did, hit the like button underneath the video. Subscribe to Warchant TV. It's absolutely free. And we'll be back next week to preview the ACC championship game for Dominic Robinson, lead analyst here at warchant.com, Warchant TV. My name is Tom Lang. We hope you enjoyed yourself, and we'll talk to you next time.